Hello. I want to welcome each one of you to the chat new GPT 4.0 update today. I'm so excited to have you all, each and every one of you here joining me and learning about what my life has been like for the last week since we got this new announcement. So the first thing I would love for each of you to do for me is if you wouldn't mind dropping in the chat your experience level with artificial intelligence, and this will help me get a little bit of an idea of how granular I should get with my explanations or how advanced I should go today. So if you wouldn't mind dropping that in, I would really appreciate it. So let's actually get started. All right. Sorry, I'm working on two screens at the moment, so I apologize when I keep looking off screen. So let me. All right, here we go. All right, so today we're going to be talking about AI updates. We're going to be talking about ChatGPT's 4.0 model, as well as some other AI updates. Now, as we get into this, I just want to walk us through the agenda of what we're going to be talking about today. So the first thing is we're going to actually talk about the broad amount of updates that came from ChatGPT's update in the new model. We're going to talk about how we can best leverage these new updates, and we're going to talk about how this actually compares to the previous version, as well as other models that are available out there. I'm going to actually do some show and tell to actually show you how things are working. And then I'm going to encourage you to actually dive in and do it for yourself. Now, if we don't know each other, I am Elizabeth Godey. I am the founder and president of Ratliff Consulting and the creator of Spark AI Lab, as well as the host of the Spark Starter podcast. I've been working in artificial intelligence since 2012. And during that time, I've been very fortunate to be a co-founder of a tech company that actually worked in line and used AI to match your taste profile to your to the best wine that will match your taste profile. So let's actually dig in and get started. So my first question for everyone is, have you had the chance to look at the new model? And if you've had a chance to look at the new model, have you downloaded ChatGPT on your phone? So the first place that we are going to start today is actually on the mobile app. Now, on the mobile app, there are a few things that I would love you to pay attention to. Number one, and I'm going to a little bit give this from an iPhone perspective, since I actually work on an iPhone, and I don't have an Android, so I would be really curious and excited to hear from each of you what your experience is if you do have an Android. Now, when I first opened my phone to look into ChatGPT, something really, really interesting happened. So I'm going to actually show you what happened. So on an iPhone, you can actually search for things on your phone. So I'm going to hopefully show this without so much reflection that you can see it. But do you see how this little microphone, like set of headphones came up? Now, if you've actually gotten into chat and you have seen the new 4.0 model, you would also see those set of headphones. Now, what's really fascinating is if you actually click on those headphones, like I'm going to do right now, you're actually going to go in directly to the voice model. Now, this voice model is actually listening to me right now, and it's going to try to do something for me based on what I'm telling it. So I'm actually going to hit the pause button because otherwise it's going to try to answer and all I'm doing is talking. Instead, I'm going to show you what it's like to actually give it a command. So if I just engage with the pause button, the play button will allow you to actually converse and talk to it. And what is really, really interesting and exciting, and if you haven't had a chance to actually review you didn't see the spring update from OpenAI, they have taken things, quite a bit further than I'm going to necessarily be able to do today. However, I am going to sort of show you this demo. So what they have done is increase and improve the response time in a live natural language uh, from a natural language perspective. Now, we're going to actually give a little conversation right now. Hi, Chip. I was hoping that you could help me come up with a list of what your new update, what the highlight of your new updates features are.
Hello. I can certainly share some highlights of my latest update. My training now includes even better understanding and generating human like text, making our conversations more fluid and natural. I've also improved at handling multiple tasks in a single conversation, which should make interactions smoother and more efficient. What kind of features are you most interested in hearing more about?
I'm most interested in hearing more about your ability to interpret data.
Great choice. With the latest updates, I've gotten better at interpreting complex data and providing insights. For example, I can analyze trends from data sets, summarize key findings, and even help forecast future outcomes based on historical data. This can be particularly useful in fields like marketing analysis, financial forecasting, or any area where data driven decision making is crucial. Would you like to see an example of how I can interpret data?
So as you can see here, I mean, I'm just saying whatever it is that I'm thinking of, and then it is coming directly back and responding to my requests. Now, as I've played with this over the course of the last week, there are certain things that I ask it that it still hallucinates. So I want to be very, very clear, and I will keep giving this reminder through this demo today. Artificial intelligence is not a perfect animal at this point in time, and hallucinations are still prone. Now, is it getting better? Absolutely, but it's not perfect. And so, a few days ago, I had asked it if it actually kept a catalog and a transcript of our conversation that we have when we're actually in this more dictation response time, and it told me no, that I would have to use a recording software. But that's actually not true. It's actually cataloging this as a chat, and it will actually catalog your full transcript, which is really great when you're looking to brainstorm. What does this type of engagement allow for us to do? Well, I think the most exciting thing that allows us to do, especially for people like me who are more auditory based, I would much rather have a conversation with you than write you an email. What this allows me to do is be able to have the same sort of conversation that I might have with ChatGPT, but I can do it in an auditory response way so I can hear it read back and forth to me. Now, the other thing is that it allows me to change the voice. And if you notice, this is not sort of the traditional voice that you've been hearing across most of the demos that are out there. I I don't love the default voice myself, so you absolutely can go in and make those changes. I think one of the most exciting changes also with this update is the ability for it to leverage, I believe it's about 40 different languages that it currently has programmed in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually talk to Chip. I call Chad Chip, and I'm sorry, I call Chat Chad. I don't. Chip is actually my work husband, which is Claude. We'll talk about him a little bit later. But what we actually will see is that I'm going to actually communicate into chat, and I'm going to ask it to speak Spanish for me. I am going to ask it to engage in a conversation, and I'm going to show you how that actually works. Hi, oh, hi, Chad. I'm looking to speak Spanish to my friend Maria. Would you mind when I speak to you? And
Sure. If you have some data in mind, you can share it with me and I'll help analyze it or provide the insights you're looking for.
Okay, we're going to start that chat over because, as I mentioned, and this is a live, and that's just how things go. It started getting confused because I was asking about data previously. So we're going to actually just start a new conversation. Now, one thing I have noticed over the last week is that when I try to go directly from a chat window and open this, I get a connection failure. So so I would encourage you, if you're having the same experience, to actually just exit out. And then, as I mentioned, when you can just sort of start it up directly from here, I recommend starting the voice conversation directly and not opening from the chat window if you're having that issue. It is intermittent. I can't quite figure out exactly what's triggering it. But if you have that problem, that's what I would encourage you to do. Oh, it's just going to give me that problem universally now. So I'm actually going to just shut chat down, which is, the equivalent of a reboot. And we're going to try again. It's thinking. Oh, it's still going to give a failure. So this happens when there's new software out there. I will try this a little bit later in this live to go back and actually show you sort of the foreign language piece because it is really, really cool. But in the meantime, just due to tech things, maybe there's just too many of us trying to be on it right now. I am actually going to take you onto the desktop. So let me. You should be seeing now the desktop. Maybe that's not true, actually. Okay, now you should be seeing the desktop, hopefully. So as you'll notice, and if you have not opened up the new model, so as you can see, I have the new model referenced up here. So this is the Chat 4.0 model. And if you haven't opened this before, you will be pleasantly surprised. It is so much cleaner. It is the UX and UI on this is really, really pretty. The UI, they did a really great job of redesigning this. And what you'll notice is that it gives you a few very quick reference points of 4 different prompts that it recommends that you can do. Now, I have leaned forward a little bit and I have uploaded a document in here. So you'll see that this is a PDF document. This document is, I think, 26 pages long. It has 10 different chapters in it. And in addition to that, it was just under 10 meg file. And the reason why I want to give you all those specific points is because as we continue to go in and ask for a prompt for it to respond to this document, I want to make sure that you sort of know what the inputs are. And we can certainly pull up this document and look at it separately if we want to. But what I want to show you is, if I get to the right screen, trying to type on a screen share. So the first thing that we're going to ask it for is, can you please, and this is a document about artificial intelligence. It's about predictions of artificial intelligence. I thought that was really relevant for what we're doing now. So can you please review this document and provide provide the key aspects of LLMs in the future. The future. Let's do that instead. The future of LLMs. And that I can use in a blog post. Okay, now you notice unlike if you've watched a lot of my previous lives or demos, I did not really put any context in here. I did not ask for it to act like someone. I didn't ask for it to take on a particular persona because really what I'm looking for is just sort of data analysis. Now, what's really interesting is that that it is coming back with 10 items here as it relates to now what I asked it for, and based on OpenAI's sort of promise of this new model, we should be actually looking at what the future of LLM is going to be. So it came back and it told us that it will have a profound impact on society and business. It will have a democratization of data. It will have enhanced user experience, productivity and efficiency, AI as a work champion, sorry, companion. I liked it better as champion. Data strategy acceleration, customization and industry specific models, and challenges and ethical considerations. It will also have open source contributions and security implications. Now, it's gone through and actually given me this out of a document. Okay, so I want you to just, if your minds are not blown yet, this was out of a PDF. It was able to interpret this information. Now we're going to continue and say, okay, great. Thank you. Now, I also always use sort of please and thank you. It has been reported that you actually get better returns when you use please and thank you, like when you're use more etiquette and you're sort of coaxing the tool along. I had a really funny engagement with Claude a few days ago that I'll try to remember to tell you about. Okay, so okay, thank you. Please proceed with creating a blog post based on the topic you think would be most relevant to people using AI. Okay, super generic. Again, we're taking this really generic because I'm trying to show you sort of like where the tool is right now. Okay, so again, we're going off of a data source, which now there are a few other things that obviously from a copyright perspective and also being able to attribute back to the original source, we would never take this as it is. And I want to be very clear about the ethical side of artificial intelligence and sort of like where we are with the use of this. And let's see if I can get there we go. There's my little head. Okay. So we've gotten this back. Now, as you notice, I mean, this is a pretty long blog post that it came back with. And, it provided me a title. It provided me, all of these different components. It basically gave me a paragraph for, and then it gave me a conclusion. I'm not sure that I would go ahead and post this directly as a blog post, how it is. But you certainly can see where we very quickly, from finding a data source to being able to move this in. I mean, this is a very, very, very fast response. And it's really, really exciting. So in addition to being able to do this, one thing that I spend a lot of time doing, and I'm going to actually start a new chat for this, is what you can do with systematizing things that you replicate over and over and over again. And because Claude, and if you're not familiar with Claude, Claude is a long language model. It is based instead of the GPT model, it's actually based in what they call the constitutional AI. Claude natively launched with the ability to attach documents and actually pretty substantial documents. And so from that standpoint, I've always leaned more in the direction of Claude in these cases. Now, because of that, I have actually come up with a system. So I think I had mentioned in the beginning, I host a podcast. And with my podcast, people fill out an application and they give me the criteria that of what I can look at for, writing, for introducing them, for whatever their unique abilities are, etc. And so, because I do that over and over and over again, that is something that I actually have created a document where I actually just merge that information in, and then watch this. So can anyone guess how it is that it's doing this from that document? I didn't put anything in other than just attach the document. Can you guess what it is that that we're seeing here? So what has happened is that the prompt is actually baked into the attachment. So I want to encourage you that um, if you are using documents, you have a system over and over again, and you already know what kind of output that you want to get from it, you can actually bake it into the document, and then you don't even have to write a prompt. You can literally just run it, right? Which is incredible time saving. Now, what I find really interesting is that there is actually a date in there. The location is not really specified. It is from a chat perspective, it's adding ancillary information, in my opinion, to what I've actually asked for it to do. So there is certainly that issue. So in addition to that, though, I mean, it is certainly breaking down. It's written swipe copy for me for all of these different pieces. And then if I go on and I say, okay, great, thank you. Please write the guest intro. It still should be referencing that information and then basically writing an intro for me. Now, what I'm not showing you is what this document actually has in it. So what I'm actually going for here, and actually, I'm not sure if I'm sharing the right screen to show it to you. Let me see. I don't know that I can open this. No, I can't open this from here. What's in the document is an overview of my show. It's an overview of the inputs that the guest has given, and then basically these prompts. And so when I can continue to react off of this document as I continue to go through. So, when you think about efficiency of repetition of tasks that you do over and over and over again, it really can't get more simple than just creating a template for yourself of what you need to do, and then basically just saving it and doing it as an attachment. Now, we did Lori's sort of intro, et cetera, here. I'd love to show you sort of how it reacts in my, as I mentioned, my work husband, Chip. So Chip, we've got this. The attachment, like I said, Chip's been able to do this since day one. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see if we can still run it anyway. Certain times of day, I don't know about you, but I find that these tools don't always behave like the capacity of people working in them is a little bit higher. I find if I work late at night or really early in the morning, I have the best capacity in these tools, mainly because I think there's just not as many people working in them. As you also saw, sometimes they get a little bit confused. We try to go from the welcome screen. We had to actually open up the actual screen, run it again, and then we're getting it run. Now, one thing that I did find, and this has only happened recently with some of the other updates that Claude has gone through, which is if you can sort of see here, Claude is responding, but not doing it in a way where it's expanding wide in a one line instead of doing a word wrap. And so from that perspective, we can't actually see all of the information that's being provided, throughout here to sort of see it. And I do find that that's a little frustrating. I do prefer how the tables actually are rendered in chat over Claude's, particularly because of that. But as you see here, it's a little bit different return, certainly different language return. And what I've found as well is how it keeps its formatting is very different between, sort of taking the copy function from here versus the copy function from here is more manual. And there are certainly pros and cons to being able to experience those. So, so this sort of shows you these pieces. Now, the mobile app, if we jump back to that, which hopefully it is going to be working a little bit better for us now. I'm going to see if I can open it back up and get it to load. Okay, so it looks like it's working again. So now we're going to try the foreign language piece, which is so exciting. I would never want to leave this demo without showing it to you. Okay, so we're going to try the same prompt that we ran earlier again now. Hi, I was hoping you could help me speak with my friend who only speaks Spanish. If I tell you what I want to say in English, can you respond in Spanish?
Absolutely, I can help with that. Just tell me what you'd like to say in English and I'll translate it into Spanish for you.
Okay, great. Could you please say, Hi, Maria. My name is Elizabeth. It's so nice to meet you.
Hola María, mi nombre es Elizabeth. Es un placer conocerte.
I was hoping that we would be able to work together. Are you interested in pursuing that?
Esperaba que pudiéramos trabajar juntos. ¿Te interesa seguir esa posibilidad?
When you think about the use case for that feature alone, it now removes the barrier of going to certain countries or locations where you don't speak the language, working with someone in another country that doesn't speak the language, because this is now, I mean, it's not perfect real time, but it's pretty darn close. I mean, the thinking that went on there was not that long. And so when you think about the applications for being able to speak in another language, now what I can't show you because I don't speak fluently another language well enough to actually demo this is the return. So what I could have actually asked for chat to do was to actually listen to me in English, respond in Spanish, and then listen to the Spanish and respond to me in English. And it actually can act as almost like your pocket translator. And so when you think about those opportunities, it's wild, completely wild. In addition to that, there is actually a camera function which will allow you to actually view and interpret information. It will allow you to even look at graphical information and be able to interpret it. So it is really, really exciting, sort of this next level of enhancement that has certainly happened with ChatGPT. Now, if you actually saw the live that I did a few months ago with Marcus, we were actually talking about figure one, which is a humanoid. And really, we were starting to see some of these features already in play way back then. Well, I say way back then, but in AI terms, that was way back then. And so, from that standpoint, we've now sort of taken the next step, which they've put it in our pocket. And also, just to reference, uh, Anthropic has also come out with a mobile app in case you didn't realize that they did that. So now you have on the go ability to work with both of these AI tools. So I'm hoping that everybody has taken this opportunity. If you have not already had OpenAI in your, or sorry, ChatGPT on your phone, or Anthropic on your phone, I would encourage you to absolutely go out and load those apps directly into onto your phone so that you have them at a glance. And in addition to that, I am I'm wondering if anybody has any questions, and I am going to put a couple things on screen because I noticed that nobody wanted to join me actually in the studio today, which is really unfortunate because I could have brought you up live so you could ask your questions and we could talk about it together. Um, so, a few things. One is this is actually the link to go out and watch the actual spring update from OpenAI. If you have not had the chance to do that or to watch that full I think it was about an hour or maybe 45-minute presentation. You can certainly watch it all in detail. They were very fortunate because one of the presenters was actually Italian, so they were able to, speak in Italian to her, and she was able to speak in Italian back, which was great. And then, in addition to that, they can actually show you sort of the interpretation of a graphical chart, et cetera, which is I mean, it's an amazing enhancement of what's been made now. And then I'm still buying myself a little bit of time so I can see if everyone has dropped in their any questions that they have. I'm trying to find them natively on the actual places where I am going live because for some reason it is not coming into my feed here. But again, when we do lives, that's just sort of how things work. So in the meantime, I hope that I can find where you have dropped your information because I am not finding it right now. And I'm actually not even sure where everybody's watching. I can see that there's a bunch of you, but I can't find exactly where you are at this exact moment. It's like best laid plans. All right, I'm going to see. You must be on LinkedIn because I haven't found you anywhere else. And I'm sorry if it looks like I'm looking up. I have another screen over here. All right. So maybe nobody has any questions and hasn't dropped any comments, which is why I can't see anything. But you're all still here with me, which is great. And I certainly encourage you all to, because I can't see if you have any questions, I will continue to go through and check back with each of you and answer them directly wherever you have placed any questions that you might have. So make sure that you drop them in. And the next time, I hope that you actually join me live in StreamYard because it does give me the opportunity to actually meet directly with each of you and be able to bring you up in the studio with me, which is one of the really great aspects. And in addition to that, I hope that you take the opportunity. Oh, that's not actually in the slideshow mode. To actually just dig in and get into it and take off and experience these models for yourself. There's certainly some really exciting aspects of Chat GPT and all of its new features that I encourage you to really think about how you can work those into your business and help from an efficiency standpoint. As you know, if AI takes you longer, you're not doing it right. The upfront part is the part that usually takes a bit of time is to actually get things set up. But once you do, look at how fast they are. I mean, it now removes the barrier of being able to sort of write swipe copy and intros for your podcast, for goodness sakes. You just watched me do that in less than a minute. And so I am excited, and I hope that you all report back with how you are using ChatGPT and its new 4.0 model. Make sure that you're selecting that model. It will default back to 4 or 3.5. If you are not a current subscriber to ChatGPT, there are a few things to note. They did actually say that you would have access to the GPTs that had been created. What I have noticed is you will get access to them on the desktop. On mobile, it does not look like it actually gives you access to GPTs that way. So that's one thing that you should note. In addition to that, it looks like Steve Kim is looking to actually join the live stream. And I think, Steve, I should be able to give that to you. So let me do that while I continue with this thought. Is that, oh gosh, I've now lost my train of thought, for goodness sakes. It'll come back to me. But I am going to give the link for anyone who does want to join me in the studio, because I would love to answer questions live, which would be great. Um, just give me 1 second. I'm just trying to pull up the link. Hmm. Actually, I think I can just do it this way. Let me just give me 1 second. All right, I think that's it. All right, Steve, I'm going to pop this on screen. Oh, I see a comment from Sheldon as well. What are the most helpful GPT 4.0 updates compared to Chat GPT 4 Plus? So in general, Sheldon, it is the 4.0 model allows you to actually have the dynamic conversation, and so that's specific to the 4.0 model. The ability to use your camera and be able to interpret information is certainly 4.0 model. The type of reference to uh, the reference to the data interpretation, the response rates, et cetera, those are also unique to the 4.0 model. I do encourage you to test out the 4.0 versus 4 and see the difference in response. One thing that OpenAI did sort of promise us is the fact that it is more likely to give you an accurate response. Now the sorry the in addition to the accurate responses that it's supposed to have, it's also more concise than it has been. Now, I still find that it errs towards the side of wanting to be more verbose, wanting to give us more information. So a lot of times we have to put in context of, like a word count, or just simply asking for it to be more concise. These models, it's almost like they are, I if you've watched my lives for a long time, you'll know that I sort of compare chat to a child versus Claude to being like coffee with a friend. Claude's more likely to tell you when you're doing questionably ethical information. It's more likely to ask you for more information rather than just respond to you. Chat has a propensity to want to just give you uh, it wants to just give you as much information as it has. And if you think about like a child, you ask them a simple question, and the next thing you know, is the fact that they're sort of like giving you as much information as they have in their brain, right? And that's a little bit, I think, how these models differ. Now, I will tell you, I think the guardrails on Claude is a little tight. When I've tried actually running, let's say, persuasive sales copy, persuasive marketing copy, which would be really common for someone like me, it's Claude 9 times out of 10 is going to tell me that I'm trying to trick someone into doing something they don't want to do. And so from that standpoint, it will not give me a return, which is very frustrating when you think about being able to use this for business. So you have to sort of think about how you're going to actually structure that prompt so that Claude doesn't feel like you're trying to trick someone, which is a really fascinating study, I think, even in human psyche, of the fact of how those guardrails were put into place. But we can certainly discuss that another time. So I think there were a few other questions. Sheldon was saying he's been using it no less than 8 hours a day since it first was released. It's an interesting demand that's put on these tools when they first come out. Everybody wants to dig in and test them. My one sort of recommendation, and again, if I apologize for everyone who's been following me for a long time, these are things I talk about a lot, is have a goal and a purpose for what you're trying to do. I mean, if you're certainly trying to test the guardrails of in the boundaries of how far you can push these tools, it's really exciting to spend sort of some consecutive time in these tools, comparing them, et cetera, to sort of get an idea of like what's going to be the best use case for you. The one thing I would sort of caution everyone is about the fact that artificial intelligence should be helping us get more time back in our day and in our life, and be able to apply time back to being more strategic and being able to complete research, etc. And so, from that standpoint, I would caution on spending too much time in these tools when you don't actually have a point or a focus. So, make sure you have a goal, because that's also how you're going to figure out what the right tool is for what your use is. One thing that we didn't talk about, and I think actually what I might do is actually go back and share my screen one more time, is the ability with this new model to actually natively go out and um, go out and search the internet. So if I wanted to go out and look at, let's start a new chat. So if I wanted to go out and research, let's say, uh, trying to think of an example. So let's say I want to actually look at OpenAI. Um, so please review openai.com for the latest updates on GPT 4.0. Now, I didn't put an HTTP on there, so yep, it's still going to go out and search. So what's become really exciting is that previously you had to use plugins and things like that. And then even when they did roll out an enhancement for the 4 model recently that said that it could also review live URLs. It was okay. I don't think it was great. This one is a lot better. I mean, it's really going out and searching. If I looked for it to go and interpret my website or something that I have out there, it will do that as well. But you can see that this now sort of starts to put everything into one work stream. So when you think about going out and sort of searching for information and then bringing it back in here and having to attach it or paste it in and those types of things, this is really starting to streamline where you do not have to be in multiple places. You can really just be in one place. And Sheldon, I really love the all these comments that you're putting in. I love the fact that you find it much quicker and accurate. It is leaps and bounds, in my opinion, from where it was previously. So I love the fact that you're finding better experiences with that. And in general, I'd be curious to know what are the use cases that you're using these tools for. So, Steve, if you're still here, I'd love to hear what you're using it for. Sheldon, I'd love to hear what you're using it for. And then I don't know if I ever actually um, added this, but if anybody wants to join me in the studio, if you actually come and join me here in StreamYard, then I can actually add you into the studio and get you up on the live. So we're starting to see some other things come in. Sheldon, I love your comment about the memory of the past conversations. That's a really good point I didn't talk about today. So how you build your memory in ChatGPT, on the 4 model, the way that it worked was you actually In the for model, you would create a memory, you would create custom instructions, is actually what they called it, where you had a very specific character limit, and you were restricted in sort of two different areas that allowed you to add more context um, to your requests within the model. Now, what they've actually done now is allow you to include and exclude. So it allows you to actually toggle on and off in your settings. It allows you to actually toggle on and off for your memory. So let me actually share that. So as you should see on my screen right now, if you go into your settings, which is up in this corner, and you go into settings, you will have the ability to sort of, set all kinds of different information, including personalization. So what personalization allows you to do is, you sort of still have the option for custom instructions, and then it also allows you to actually start building a memory. And then you select what you want it to remember, and then you can actually sort of manage that. So the good news is, if you are an agency, or you are you work with many types of clients, and you're helping them actually through your own account, this now allows you to exclude or turn off the building of memories when you're working on other people's work. And instead, you can just, have it focus and build off the memory. Now, as I showed you with the podcasting document, um, it also, that I created, that had sort of a prompt in it. The nice thing is you can also create custom instructions that way. So let's say you work with 6 different clients, and you want to make sure that you're keeping their tone. Me as a branding person, I want to make sure that we're keeping consistent tone and, core attributes of our clients. So we actually create documents that allow us to sort of make sure that we're feeding that in directly to the tools. We create custom GPTs that allow us to be able to talk about them. It really just depends sort of like what our need is. But the cool thing is, with the custom GPTs now available, if you don't have a paid account, really expands the use of them and the opportunity for being able to work with clients, customers, et cetera, to be able to use that. So, Steve, I also, it says, will I be able to drop a recorded conversation and ask it to analyze for each person? So yes, absolutely. You can also drop in YouTube links, and it will go out and analyze the YouTube. So absolutely, you can be able to do that, and you can absolutely analyze it for coaching sessions. I think that's an absolutely great use case. We use it for all different types of models, even when we're starting to develop brand tones and things like that. Especially if it's for a personal brand, or it's for the leader of a company, getting sort of honed in on their tone of voice. It's best if we can take it from things that they've already spoken in their tone of voice, and then we can dial in from there. But it's a really, really great place to start. And what a great question, Steve. Thank you very, very much for asking that. I'm dying to get you up on camera with me, because I've noticed that it's just Sheldon and Steve that are here with me. Which I love the company. So thank you very much for joining me here. Any other questions or items we can talk about? I would say that I wish I could show you specifically sort of how the camera feature works. Let's see if I can at least sort of give you a little bit of a. So this is going to be a little bit weird, because it's. I have to think about how this is going to display. Okay, so if I use the camera, it will also detect on me. So it will be able to detect my emotion, how I'm being. I can use it for a visual display. So if you can, it's sort of hard for me to show it, but see if I can twist this way. So if you can sort of see here, it's actually looking at me. And sorry about that with the microphone. So when I show it this, I can say, oh, sorry, that's not what I was trying to show. Um, I think because I'm in this other chat. So my one little advice to you on your mobile device is it will constantly keep defaulting back to the 4 model. I don't know why it does that. Unlike the desktop, it will stay in whatever model you actually selected last. The mobile does not. It's been a major frustration for me over the last week. So if anybody from OpenAI is actually listening to this or interpreting it, I would say, like, can we please make sure that the default goes back to whatever model we last used? Especially if we're using the voice piece. It's being a little. I think there must just be a lot of demand right now where it's not letting me load things up. Again, I will record a separate video later that actually shows you sort of the emotional piece and how you can sort of ask it how you should be for an interview, maybe where you're preparing to do a speaking engagement, etc. So I'll record that separately and make sure to get you that. So make sure that um, if you did not register for this live stream through the actual proper channels, make sure that you do, so that I make sure to get you the link to that video when I record it. Also, you'll get the replay of this recording as well. So if there are no other questions, I'm going to encourage everyone to get out there and try this new model for themselves. The great news is that OpenAI made this model available, made the 4 model available, made GPTs available for free users, which is a really, really incredible opportunity for everyone who maybe is not at a level of wanting to pay for these tools. So that's a really, really amazing service that they've been able to provide back. And I want to make sure that everyone is using these tools as effectively as they can to free up time in your life. So remember, we should not get sucked into the black hole of these tools because they will do that to us. Instead, use it to make yourself more efficient and get outside and enjoy this beautiful weather that we're starting to get in most of the world. I'm in Michigan, so it's certainly nice to not have to wear a down coat anymore. And if you have more AI questions and more live topics that you'd like me to cover, make sure to reach out to me because I'd be happy to share those. So until next time, enjoy, and I will talk to you soon.